It's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show. Tudo bem? Como estás? How are you this morning? We have got a fantastic show lined up. She just sent me a message, actually. We have Veronica, the American in Portugal, and Carl Hyde, the Englishman in Lisbon. He doesn't actually speak like that. She's just giving me a few production notes for what's coming up a little bit later on this morning. Veronica, yes, at 9, and Carl Hyde at 9:30. Before that, Mrs. M, who is busy making pancakes because we're celebrating a birthday in the house. It is King Solomon. His birthday is today. He's 4 years of age today. He's the Portuguese man who lives with us, our son. Born here in Portugal. I have to point that out and remind Mrs. M that we live with a Portuguese person. Yes, born here, King Solomon. Happy birthday to you, mate. Parabéns. And so it could be a bit of an excitable show this morning. I mended that train set. Were you with us on Monday where Mrs. M, I think, might have mentioned all that stuff, including the massage machine that she bought from Algarve? We also bought a light-up train set that in their haste between the four of them, mum and the three kids trying to put it together, got really quite cross and narky with each other. And I had to step in and save it with a few cable ties last night. So all is well and ready with the train set for him when he wakes up this morning. So what an exciting morning this is in the Munson household. Hope all is well where you are. And remember, as Francis tells you, you're a legend. Bon dia, alegria a todos. Pardon my work and lurk ways the last while. Been editing a big project. It's really not a problem. I love it when people multitask like this and lurk and work. So you're very welcome, Francis. And I'm sure when something occurs to you to chip in, you do. I've seen you. I've seen you do it. So fair play to you for being able to do that. Some people can't work and lurk. They have to do one or the other. So well done, mate. Been editing a big project, you say, but still taking it all in. Remember, you're all legends. Everything goes in on a subconscious level. Be careful what you expose yourself to whilst at the cafe, and CNN is on the screen. Did I just say that out loud? Mrs. M is joining us. This is a much nicer alternative to CNN on the screen. It's Mrs. M, not CNN. How are you this morning?
Good morning. Bom dia, alegria. How are you all?
Yeah, I'm just telling everybody that the Portuguese guy we live with, Salomão, is 4 today. We live with a Portuguese person, don't we?
Oh, gosh, yes, I guess we do, yeah.
We do.
He is our resident, isn't he?
He is. Feliz aniversario, Rey Salomão. How about that? And Feliz aniversario, Solomon from France as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. And happy birthday to King Solomon as well.
With his 10,000 wives.
Yeah, and yes, he falls slept with his father. That's what my father used to sing to me when I was a lad. It was prophetic that we should have a son called Solomon in that case. Now we are celebrating. We'd like to share an offer with you. I've not talked this through with Mrs. M. I might be in a lot of trouble, but if we go
Probably.
Yes, let's see how this works out this morning. But we haven't talked enough about our Portugal club. And this, I know a lot of you Gumpers who tune in every day might think this isn't for you, and it might not be. That's fair to say. But we know a lot of people watch on catch up eating ketchup in the United States of America later on in the show. And if you need a little bit of help in moving to Portugal, we are at your service with our Portugal club, which we very rarely go on about, but we're going to this morning, and we're going to make a special offer in honor of not only King Solomon's birthday, but the fact that we have had 250,000 downloads of the Good Morning Portugal podcast, and we're fast approaching a 1,000.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's another birthday almost, isn't it? I mean, that's amazing.
definitely celebrating. And so what I thought we'd do, Mrs. M, if it's okay with you, and I'm just about to find out if that's okay, is tell people a little bit about the Portugal Club. And what
Sure.
it is it's our Move to Portugal support system, as you can see on the screen there. We don't just do a fabulous show for you every weekday morning. We also help people move to Portugal. And I have been accused of inspiring hundreds of people to move to Portugal. And we like to get in there behind the scenes and help people as well. We've been doing that over the last couple of years, but we don't really go on about it. And today is the day when we're going to go on about it a little bit. So we support you with your move to Portugal. We think it's a complete system. And if it isn't, we'd like to know why and fill in any gaps. We offer one-to-one coaching. Mrs. M, I think, is probably better at this sort of thing than I am. Because she talks about damp and stuff like that. No, but the touchy-feely parts of
that's got absolutely nothing to do with the coaching, my love.
All right, fair enough. We'll do a damp special for you if you're part of Portugal. And the migration mastermind that has been especially useful in the facilitation of a group of people who are moving to Portugal, who compare notes and support each other, and we convene, host, and facilitate that. It is for new arrivals as well as movers. I was going to put movers and shapers, but that was probably a little bit cryptic. Mover is pretty straightforward, isn't it? If you're moving to Portugal, you might like our help. And if you're a new arrival and maybe floundering a little bit, but don't like to say so, can you imagine coming to Portugal, having watched so many Portugal channels, thinking, oh, I'm going to have such a great life there. And some things are a little bit off, as they might be. Who do you turn to? You don't want to be that person sometimes who says, actually, some of this is very difficult for me. Do you want somebody to talk to? It might not be me. It might be Mrs. M in the Portugal Club service that we offer. So it's that and much more. We are focused. We're not going to leave you floundering in great big Facebook groups asking for advice hither and thither and getting 27,000 different answers and starting a fight politically in a Facebook group. No, we are
because that does happen, doesn't it?
Of course it happens. Yes.
May I share a few things about what we do?
Please do.
I think what we offer is a safe space. The way I see it is it's all about safe spaces. Like when you're planning to move to another country, you're already in a kind of safe space, aren't you? You're in your home, you know it, you have a peer group around you usually, and you may already have sort of developing relationships with people in communities like the Gumpers, and other online things going on. So you're already kind of in a safe space, but moving into a place of the unknown. And this is where I think I come in. Carl is really good at it. He's a lot more kind of yangy. He's much more suited to, I think, the men who are moving. And I think, I know I've been of help to many women. What I would absolutely recommend is, if you're a partner, a partnership moving over, you might each have different needs that you want to get off your chest. You might want to explore what it might feel like. You might want to talk about some of your fears, some of the things that keep you up at night that maybe you can't tell your partner, or maybe you want to tell your partner and don't know how to, and we can help with that. Also, I can also look at your astrology, look at your family astrology, your partnership astrology, and help you move in tune with the moon and the planets, and also help you find a location and zero in on it. And so, and like Carl has said, when you arrive, you've also got the benefits of having a support team on the ground. And yeah, I've been involved in quite a few people who have moved over on both astrology and sort of immigration. In both capacities, I guess I would say.
Yes.
And I do work with men, and Carl also works with women. So what we're proposing is we've got a few different options. But one of them is where you get the group support each week. And then for those of you that want a little bit more hand-holding, a little bit more reassurance, but also a time to really feel quite nourished, you've got that space. It's your space. You can buy an hour a month, a week, every 2 weeks, whatever works best for you. And it's all confidential, and it hopefully will help you in your process of moving over.
That is superb. And you said something there about some things that you can't say to your partner. What were you thinking when I said to you, because we remembered, didn't we, the evening when we decided to move to Portugal back in the UK in 2017, in the summer of. It was a rainy night in Torquay, wasn't it? And we had some sort of conversation which led to, well, why don't we move to Portugal? And it was like, wow, I just said that out loud, and you heard me say it out loud, and you weren't against the idea, and something shifted massively, didn't it? That was a moment for sure in the illuminated winter gardens of Torquay, which are still the winter gardens in the summer, I have to tell you.
They're still there as far as I know.
What were you thinking that you might not have said to me at that time? Because I think our communication skills have improved a little bit in our relationship since then.
They've got better, haven't they?
Well, thank God, yeah.
They were always good. Let's be honest.
What were you thinking? What could you not say to me at that point that you might have benefited from talking to a third party about, which you probably did, in fact?
Yes, I did. I was worried about how we would support ourselves and how we'd make that transition.
Yeah.
One of my biggest concerns was Carl wanted to kind of try before you buy. He wanted us to come out, rent a place, have a little tour, and then go back and then sort of decide where we might be.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I was thinking in practical terms, I knew what our budget was, and I was thinking, we can't afford to do that. We need to just move and make best of it. Yes. And the funny thing is, we haven't bought a place. We've just, we've moved out here, we've rented, we've worked in different places, we've moved around, and it's been really quite an adventure. Yeah. But neither of us could really conceive of how we could arrive in a place, set up. We've each set up businesses here. We like have busked our way into a lifestyle which works for us. We're part of a community. There's just so much that's changed. And what I would say is, even when it seems impossible, it can be still possible. Not everybody coming over here has bucket loads of cash and retirement money. Lots of people are moving to make their money work a little bit differently, to make it go a bit further. We've all got our budgets, but there's other things as well, like timing. I was thinking, well, if we don't go now, it's going to be too hard on our children. Let's go now and rip this Band-Aid off. So there were very, very different approaches. But what I was very mindful of is, if I came in with possibly some criticism or asking questions, it might have put Carl off altogether. I've lived abroad.
Why do you have to ruin my dream?
But these are the things that we can help you with. It's pretty safe to say we've been through most of this ourselves. What I would say is, we're not so bothered by the nitty-gritty of things, are we? Because there's so much help out there.
And while wondering,
hold on a minute, Veronica.
What are you doing?
Veronica, you're not on yet. Want to join us, the American in Portugal. Veronica. Okay, so sorry.
Like these shows and the interviews that we do, and also some of the other work that Carl does, which you might be aware of, it deals with some of the nitty gritty, and there's lots and lots of other people who are dealing with the nitty gritty with really key advice on, visas and things like that. But what isn't done so much is, how you cope, how you set up a new life, how you deal with your new identity, how learning another language actually changes your identity as well. There's just so much. So, and I'm going to plug the new show, the Secrets of Migration. It's going to be released next week. So we're going to have a weekly show, one or two episodes a week.
That's definitely something that's changed, isn't it? Is the awareness and being more open to dealing with the dark side of it, of moving to anywhere, really. I know
the dark and the light. You're right. I mean, life is full of ups and downs, isn't it? Wherever we are. But when you're in a new place with lots of unknowns, it can just be a little bit more difficult to work around.
Yes.
And so, like this new series that we're launching, The Secrets of Migration, it's a series of interviews with people that have moved here, there, and everywhere. For all different reasons, and we're talking about all the different sort of psychological things and just real life things that are going on. So hopefully there's quite a few supports out there for you.
They might come back to do Q&A in the Portugal club as well.
I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All right, so
definitely.
that's what we wanted to tell you about today. The Portugal Club, that is our special service for the movers and the shapers. If you're thinking of moving, you want a bit of help in the way that was just been described, then click on that link. This is where I might be getting myself into some trouble now. If you click on that link, it will take you through. But how much do we charge for this? We charge, folks, 49 euros for this. And if that wasn't great,
That's not for the online coaching, though. That's for the group.
well, that's where I might be in some trouble with you here, and this you might be witnessing a domestic difficulty here on the screen now. But what I'm going to suggest as a special offer, because we have had our 250th episode, 250,000 downloads of our podcast, and it's Solomon's birthday today. How about let me just get the right screen onto your screen, everybody. It's 40. I mean, you can pay what you want for this, which is the interesting thing with how we do it. That is 49 euros for the basic level, coming to the weekly meetup. But I was thinking, if people book that up this week, could we give them a one-off taster of a one-to-one session, Mrs. M, putting you right on the spot in front of everybody?
Absolutely, why not?
Oh, thank God for that. Okay. She's just going to kill me afterwards, everybody. It's fine, don't worry. So there you go. That so without the one.
No, I loved the way you the way you kind of what's the word? You fluffed it up. You had a good fluffing
good
thing
bit
there,
of
you know,
fluffing,
because we got good news, because we're celebrating. Let's do it.
yes.
And actually, yeah, I'd like to do that.
Okay,
for a limited time only, I would say.
Yes, well said.
I'm going to be knee deep in consultations, but
yes, quite.
I mean, we're also there to celebrate your moves and changes as well. So it is important that we celebrate.
Well. Okay. So let's put a maximum on it as well. We can't do 100 free one-to-ones so let's limit it to 10.
Well, we can.
Jeez, there you go. How about that? All right, fantastic. Dougie might want some help. He's moving to Monte Gordo. You know where we are. You know where we are, Doug, if you want some help. And that applies to everybody. So go to, actually, if you want to take advantage of that offer or support us in any other way, there are many ways to do that. I'm putting a link.
You haven't shown the coaching package. You've just shown the...
That's a bit rude, isn't it? Showing everybody my coaching package this time of the morning. Honestly, what are you like? You get to see that every morning, but I can't share that with everybody, my love. Okay, but you know what she means there. Or do you want me to show them everybody my coaching package?
Okay, no. Let's just move on. I can see lovely Veronica is in the green
Veronica
room.
is giggling.
She looks beautiful.
I don't know why she's giggling. Maybe she's seen a
I think she's laughing about this discomfort between us.
Ooh, ouch. Ooh. Let's move on. So Veronica, to join us in a few minutes, we might bring her on early because she has so much to tell us. She's been to Malta.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, she doesn't like it.
I love that.
Yes, stop it. Okay. She's been to Malta. She used the train and has some tips about using the trains in Portugal. She wants to talk about damp this morning. You're not the only one, Mrs. M. Actually solution-focused damp talk this morning. And who doesn't like a bit of solution-focused damp talk first thing in the morning? We're going to be doing that, and some secrets, some secrets about how to avoid nightmares buying property, and a nice little tip. I'm not going to say it, but a nice little tip about where to buy a hidden gem that won't be hidden for much longer after this morning's conversation with Veronica. And also Carl Hyde will join us at 9:30 as well. I'm going to try some dad jokes on him. I think he enjoyed them. Last time he was with us, his little girl wasn't very well, and she was in the house, and there are various people walking about in the background. It was fantastic.
I think that's his father-in-law.
Was it his father-in-law and his daughter?
I asked.
Oh, bless.
His father-in-law was the one wearing the vest, walking around in the background.
That's a good look.
Bless
and
him.
I think that's a meme, worthy of a meme, isn't it? To have, or a green screen video, to have like a random older gentleman walking around in pants and vest behind you. You might have that in a minute, Mrs. M. Who knows? Actually, we haven't got anyone staying at the moment. It's unlikely to happen here. So there we go. Portugal Club, you know where to go. That's the link to do that on the screen. And let's say a few hellos to everybody this morning before we say hello to Veronica. A God Squad tip of the day from the Coach Turner. The last tummy exercise this week. Thank you, Clive, for sending the picture of us in the Algarve last week. He says, we've been improved by Google Photos. The only thing I can see that's improved by Google on that photo is the size of my belly. So maybe I need this. Last tummy exercise this week. Google, what were you thinking? If you do it the other way around and you reduce people's bellies with your improvisations and improvements, that would work, but not in that instance. Onto your back again. Listen to Coach Turner.
With your
On your
feet in the
backs,
air.
everybody. Get your feet in the air. Think of England and cycle as if you're riding a bike. Build up to 20 seconds. Another compromising position to put yourself in and have people wonder what on earth is going on when they come into the kitchen. Fantastic, Coach Turner. Hope you're well, mate. Bon dia, Alegria, Gumpers as well, and James. I'm going to ask you to do the cue this in a minute, Mrs. M. Bon dia, Gumpers, Feliz Quinta Toros, Quinta Feito. It sounds like you've had an interesting couple of days, a lot of fun there, James, and I hope you passed on my love to Conk and Hanny. Cue this then, Mrs. M. Go on.
Science replaces private prejudice with public verifiable evidence. Richard Dawkins. Why did you make me read this one out? Because you think I would automatically be up in arms about it.
Honestly,
the poetry of reality, even a symphony of science.
Richard Dawkins, he's a smug bugger, isn't he? He is. I mean, fair play, and I'm not taking anything away from the words. The words are either true or they're not. A bit like science, you might say. So science replaces private prejudice with public verifiable evidence, unless, of course, there's a massive.
Do you know what? What? I think the whole idea of science.
You're cancelling this quote.
I'm not cancelling. I don't cancel anything. Okay, that's not my game. Right. I get really annoyed with that kind of mantra: trust the science, trust the science, trust the science, trust the science, because that's just very unscientific in its approach. The idea that you have to trust something. That's in the ideas of realms of religion and belief systems.
Well, it is. It is. Yeah.
What I'm always fascinated by is what is backing up the science. Like, where was the original statement of intent? Like, No, because science is only as good as its original focus.
No, I agree with you. I was saying,
also how. And also, nice comment from Thunderduck there. Yes. But it's also really heavily swayed by the people that are doing it.
Of course,
and also how they're doing it in terms of money. I had a conversation, a very lengthy conversation, and slightly embarrassing at moments, with a top scientist from a very well known university in America about the kinds of issues of funding. And policy and all sorts of things. And those kinds of statements sound like, oh yes, science is the way. But like this public verifiable evidence, when people have asked for the public verifiable evidence of certain things that have been going on in the last 2 years, big companies have gone to very great lengths to hide that evidence for 75 years.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, a lot of stuff that's put in the media is not scientific at all, is what I would say.
Thank you for reading out that quote. Appreciate it.
You bugger. I'm not against. This is the other thing. I'm really not against the whole method of science, which is to explore something, test it, to explore it, to find out that not just the outcomes, but the outcomes that come after. It's a much broader study.
I have been in trouble myself for accusing people of this sentiment that not you, James. We're talking about people who seem to have swapped over religion for science.
They've done a.
It's very interesting what's happened in the last few hundred years in that way, that science came along to challenge religion, and now a lot of science has become religion. And I got myself into trouble with. I used to write in a newspaper, and I got in trouble with Ben Goldacre, and I felt like a few of his gang set upon me because I accused people of scientism, which isn't science. It's just you should believe it. You should believe this stuff. A lot of us have done a lot of work, and we've worked very hard. To come up with this theory. So don't. There is
also a big boys club, isn't there, or a big girls club?
There is, and they kind of gather around you like sharks.
I've had people say, well, if you actually understood everything, if you had like a master's degree or a PhD in this, you would understand this. Your comments are only because blah blah blah.
Be quiet, little girl. We're trying to be scientists here.
But I mean, another thing I think about science, or the idea of making things understandable and verifiable, is that you're able to explain it to people that maybe don't have a PhD. If you can't do that, then you're not very smart.
Oh my goodness. Okay. And
Sorry, I mean, if information needs to be shared and understood, then
yes.
let it be understood. But when you keep it in a certain realm that makes it unexplainable, and then this kind of snotty, well, you just don't know.
Yes.
That's unhelpful.
I've got a two-word
That's not
response.
smart either. Sorry.
Empirical methods has been sent to me. Thank you very much. Some people send messages privately to me watching the show, and one of them is empirical methods. That sounds like a rapper to me. You know,
Yeah.
please welcome onto the stage. She's the rapping sensation from the west coast of America who's in Portugal this morning. It's empirical methods. Drop the beats. Okay. Yogi, this leads nicely. It ain't the heat of the Bunsen burner in the science lab. It's the humility of the scientist doing the experiment. I've elaborated on a Yogi Berra there, but it ain't the heat. It's the humility. And that's very good this morning. I'm not sure if I should get you to read out any more quotes. Let's just see. Okay. Oh, do you want to try a deep thought with us then, Mrs. M?
Okay, I'm up for that. Hang on, let me just take in a deep breath. Okay. You may be disappointed if you fail, but you're doomed if you do not try. Beverly Sills.
There's a bit of a scientific method there, right? As well, possibly. Who was Beverly Sills, I hear you ask? Well,
yeah, who is she?
She's an American operatic soprano.
Oh, that Beverly, of course.
That one. I never heard of her. Look, but I can imagine her singing that as a soprano. That would be nice as a
Go on, have a go.
You may be disappointed if you fail, but you are doomed if you do not try.
Wonderful.
How about that? Portuguese saying, thank you, Veronica. Oh, this is nice. This is you. No, this is not you. Hold on a minute.
The Iron Fist in a velvet glove.
I only read the first bit. Boca de Mel. You are my Boca de Mel, querida. But you are not my coração de fel. A heart of gall. The Iron Fist in a velvet glove. That's very poignant, isn't it? And I must say, quite Portuguese. I got that as being quite a Portuguese. Nice little mixture there. A little bit of poetry there. Boca de Mel, coração de fel. So gall is a great word, isn't it? And a jugo.
It really is.
Hugo Nuno, Portugal has 800 kilometers. That will be 500 miles. That's a nice, easy one. You know we did.
Did you want to test me on it yesterday? The temperature.
Yes, we did Fahrenheit for you yesterday, didn't we? And now we're doing kilometers today, and it's easy. When it's 8s and 5s, it's easy because it's 5/8, and that's the easiest way to remember it. If you're driving at
only if you know fractions. If you're rubbish at the 8 times table or the 5 times table, you
might
come unstuck.
If you're driving,
thankfully, we're okay on that.
If you're driving at 80 kilometers an hour, you are going to set the red light off. No, if you're driving at 80 kilometers an hour, then you're going at 50 miles per hour. You see, that's your benchmark. And there are 800 kilometers of Atlantic coastline, and Portugal is one of the world's top surfing destinations. And I found out why yesterday at the meetup. Thanks to everyone who came to the meetup, both of you. Only kidding. It was a nice, intimate gathering yesterday at the meetup of San Martino de Porto. Peeing down with rain, a grey, squally bay, and we had a lovely time sat inside Bohemia. Missed a few of you. You know who you are. Who was it who said to me? I think it might have been Phil. Somebody at Nazare sent a message to a top surfer. We've got some quite big waves here you might like. And this top surfer, possibly a Hawaiian surfer, did ignored it. And his wife said, actually, these do look like some big, amazing waves. So behind every amazing surfer is a great woman, of course, who said you should go and look at Portugal. And there it began. It put Portugal on the map, apparently. So there you go.
Wow.
I knew Portugal coast and surfing. Thumbs up from James to T-Duck there. Bon dia from Stephen and Anna. We got your lovely pictures, Anna. And when I play the tune today, and I want to squeeze this story in very quickly. I've been playing Destiny by 07 quite a lot, Mrs. M.
Yes.
Haven't I? In the car, in the house. And I lie awake, I've gone to ground. That's the verse. The chorus is, when I'm weak, I draw strength from you. And when you're down, I know how to change your mood. Now, we all know that tune, right? Don't we? A lot of us.
We do now.
That's haunted. I say tune. I've been listening to that for 20 years. And I realized by deep diving into that track, Sia sings the verses, and a wonderful woman called Sophie Barker sings the chorus. When I'm weak, I draw strength from you. And that is that was the dinner party chill out tune around the year 2000, wasn't it? Or a little bit after 2002, possibly. And it's Sophie Barker who sings that chorus. which I found by researching it. Then I found some new music from her, and she and Dan Abel, the two musicians who've made the tune we're playing today, agreed to us playing the tune. And that's what we'll play out with. And the reason I say that is because Anna Olsen's pictures will be featured. We'll do a little slideshow and listen to that new tune, Gold to Grey, from Dan Abel and Sophie Barker later on to climax the show. Bon dia, just a quick peek, but work continues, counting down the days until we return. 6, 5, 4. Thunderbirds, I'll go. It'll be you soon, baddie. And yeah, working and lurking is Francis. It is 1 minute after 9. This is so rude. Veronica,
Come on, let's bring Veronica on.
Woo! There she is.
There she is.
There she is.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello. Good morning, Portugal. And
Look at us doing our black and white beautiful dresses.
Yes.
And you're wearing black and white. Did you get the memo?
I didn't. Sorry.
We've all got pattern tops, haven't we?
Letting the
My friend and I were in Malta, and we came downstairs for breakfast, and we were dressed like twins. And we're like, wow, did you get the memo? Did you get the memo? We look pretty lame. So I'm like, okay, you get to go change. She's like, no, you get to go change.
I'll just slip my cardigan on.
So women don't like to be dressed in the same way.
No, you know what? Like we really look like we did it on purpose. We both had a black and white striped shirt, white pants, and white tennis shoes.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you might have been in a choir turning up, all in the same sort of outfit. I would.
I don't sing like you do.
Oh well, thank you. Well, thank God. Some might say.
No. You don't want me doing that. Just say no.
It's lovely to have you back. I mean, we're lucky to have you because you've been jet setting all over the place. How was Malta?
Malta was amazing. And I heard we actually got a little bit of rain in the Algarve when I left. And then when I came back, it was sunny again. So I missed it, darn it. I heard there's wet stuff that comes from the sky. But it really was lovely. It was a quick trip, and it was only 3 hours from Lisbon. So you just hop the train, from Faro or Lule, wherever you're at. The Alfa Pendular, which is the high speed, right? The really nice high speed. And it's only a few euros more goes out of Faro. And that goes Faro to Lisbon in like 3 hours. And if you get the first class, oh my goodness, it's so lovely. And it's just a few euros more. And that big, I'm going to give you the trick right away at the beginning. You can book your seats online. So you get that MyCP app. So you just, I have a video that actually says tips and tricks about getting around Portugal. And I list all the apps. And so I show MyCP. It's a little square with a C and a P. It's in English as well. You can book your ticket online. And then when you get to like the second screen at the bottom, when it looks like you're going to go forward. Oh, there you go. Yep.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Great job. And when you go to the bottom, like say you type in where you're going to want to go, and then you type in your name, and you have to put your passport number or ID card number in. Then the next screen at the bottom is choose your seats or move forward, and they're right next to each other. So when you pick choose your seats, that's ideal because nobody does it. So you look at the charts just like you do in the airplane, kind of seating. And it's like the first cart, because there's 2 in first class, is always packed, and there's like hodgepodge seats open, and those go first. So you could book with 3, and they'll put you like 1 up here, 1 down there, 1 over here. But the best seats are those tables that face each other. So you have a full table. You can have lunch, face each other, chit chat, and they have outlets. And then the Alfa Pendular does have internet. The regular ones don't. But we had to come home on the regular train. It was fine. It was only like 35, 40 minutes longer. And first class was still nice. It wasn't the AP, Alfa Pendular. And that's what you're looking for when you're booking is in the corner. You're looking for where it says AP.
Yes. And that's
fantastic advice.
It's important. That train is great. It's less expensive than going up and back with the tolls. I mean, you only pay like 30 something for a first class ticket. Make sure you click on the discounts if you're a senior. I know we have a lot of retired people here. So click on that little discount code. And there's ones, even if you're a youth in your 20s. So I happen to fall in, even though I had a birthday, I'm 55.
Happy birthday.
No way.
Yeah, I can't drive
55. You don't look 55. Bless you.
What is your secret? Come on.
We'll talk about that on the girls' chat, Miss M.
Oh, you're doing that, aren't you? I'll be
yes,
watching
we will.
that. I will be watching that.
We'll give
In
away
fact,
the girly secrets on that one.
That's the one where I'll walk past in the background in a vest, if that's all right with you, Mrs.
Cool.
M.
With your belly
Are you
hanging
like the
out.
photo
Okay.
bomber in the back?
Oh, well, happy birthday. That's fantastic. You're looking good, Veronica. Gotta
Another
say.
year around the sun.
Oh,
Wasn't
brilliant.
another trip around the sun.
Yeah, superb. That is the AP train you speak of, the shape of it there. And it's so easy to use this website as well, isn't it? And that's where you mentioned the app. That's where you can get the app by clicking on the bottom left of the screen there. 50% off for seniors. Now, we know that there might be 1 or 2 seniors in our community here. It gets even better, doesn't it? It's very good value anyway. 50% off for kids, 50% off for seniors, and lots of lovely special offers, as you can see there. What's this? Ticket for 10 trips in Lisbon.
Well, and if you book a week or 2 out, I don't remember if it's 1 week or 2 week out, then you get a discount as well. The price is always dropped.
Incredible.
Wow.
And seniors are lower age here. You know, they're,
right.
Is it 60? I can't remember what it was.
We'll ask Antonio and Joao, not because they're seniors, but because they just might know that. Okay.
Well, everyone's slightly different. I told my friend, I said, you may be senior. And she looked at me like, what are you talking about? I'm not a senior. She told the lady how old she was. And same with Malta at St. John's Cathedral. She got the senior rate. And again, it's like half off. You're going to pay 12 euros to get into the church, and it's 6.
Mixed emotions with that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you a senior? Certainly not. How very dare you? Well, it's 50%, it's 50% off. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely a senior. Yeah.
Remember when we were kids, 50 seems so old. Like you're so old, you're nearly dead. Now we're like 70 doesn't even seem older. Like 80 seems like you're just, kind of hitting your stride.
Definitely. 80
speaking of what, can I do a call out to our East Algarve pickleball?
Yes,
that
looks lovely.
Open that up. Oh, pickleball.
We are officially a club. Thank you, Denise and Nancy, and then the group that had to get together to be on the board. So we are officially the CPVRSA, so the Clubby Pickleball Villarreal de Santo Antonio. And so
that sounds amazing.
Yes, it does.
And we can see what a pickleball is, because somebody spoke about it very recently. And I couldn't.
Look at that.
Is that the bat?
That's the paddle.
Oh, paddle.
That would be if you're playing your British baseball. What's a British baseball called?
Cricket.
British
baseball.
We need to do a channel on like.
Okay. All right. She's got to go. She can't be saying stuff like that. What?
A buggy. You use a buggy instead of a golf cart.
Okay. It's so confusing. It's so confusing.
British English.
Different
I've got to go because I can hear a birthday boy getting up.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So happy birthday, Solomon. And I'll see you soon for some pancakes, mate. And Daddy repaired the train.
That's meant to be at you. Oh.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay.
Hi, Daddy.
Okay, there she goes, Mrs. M.
No, for Veronica. I kiss you every day, but I wanted to blow kisses to Veronica.
All right. Okay, looking forward to your ladies special.
Ciao, ciao.
Put my toys away.
Thank you very much.
Kids can play it too.
Before you put those away, so it's not paddleball, it's pickleball. That's a pickleball paddle. Is that right?
Doesn't have any holes, so it's
kind
of hit against the ones that have the holes. The air goes through it, so you get a little bit more. Not as much speed on these.
For flies, better for killing flies with as well.
Right. Okay, what's with the flies?
I thought you said better for thighs, like you were going to be.
I've got to be honest.
Some toning treatment.
You know what?
Actually, it is a thigh workout because half the time you're at the line, this line near the front. It's called the kitchen. You can't step into it because you don't want to like whop somebody on the head, because children do play this. In fact, our lovely ladies, Nancy and Denise, and my neighbor Anna, who is the principal of the school, brought this game to the schools. So they taught the teachers, and the teachers are doing it. It's because you pick it up right away. It doesn't take as long to play, and it's not as crazy as tennis. It's a cross between paddleball, tennis, ping pong. It's a smaller court. 2 people play on it, and you don't play the whole court. You play just your side, and you try to play the front by the net. And that's where you can't step in this area. So you're always kind of in this little squat, getting ready to reach in and hit the ball, but not step in. And so after like 30 minutes, you feel like you've done one of those like I don't know, yoga or something classes where you're just like in that perpetual squat.
Yes.
And they're great instructors. They come
Wow.
by and say, get down, get ready. And you're like, my thighs are on fire. Okay, doing what I'm told.
Mrs. M likes the sound of this sport. She came back because she thought she heard the word.
No, I thought you. I was just like curious. I was like listening as I was about to leave.
But can you imagine that walking past the sports centre and people screaming out, "My thighs are on fire"? I've got to try this.
Well, we do have a few people in our club that refuse to play the actual pickleball. They play paddle because we play 4 courts at one time. And sometimes there's up to 35, 40 of us. And so they come straight over from the paddle courses and they're like, bang, 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 playing to the back of the court. So there's no thigh work there. You know, those boys, those are the men. We're going to hit you.
I was thinking it sounded brutal. That's what kept me here. Because just as I was going, I heard Veronica say, well, you know, we don't have holes in these paddles. And it means you can like hit it. And I was thinking, flipping it, that's going to really sting if it like catches you on the face or something, you know, as the ball comes like zipping over.
Yeah, you're supposed to wear glasses, but it's less speed than paddle or tennis. And I hit myself in the eye. I don't know how you do it, but somehow I hit the ball like this and hit it right in my face. No. And then because I said, ow, and I must have manifested another shot, my own teammate hit me in the head with like the same eye, same time. That's like
so dangerous.
Right, I'm going to go.
Really not dangerous.
I'm going to stick to English baseball, I think. Okay.
All right, I'm going to go and welcome the birthday boy.
Okay.
Oh, he has a birthday too?
Yeah, our son is 4 today, our youngest.
Oh, tell him hello from his birthday buddy.
It's actually your birthday today, is it?
Is it your birthday
actually
today?
Your birthday today?
No, it was a couple days ago.
Right,
but I do know whose birthday it is. It's Lonnie McLaughlin.
Yes, the man with laugh in his name. McLaughlin is having a birthday today as well. So happy birthday, lots of love to you, Lonnie, as well, and belated birthday best to you, Veronica. What a birthday fest we're having this morning.
Scorpios, watch out.
Scorpio, you always got to watch out what the Scorpios are about, haven't you?
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right,
don't get us started on that. Okay.
Ciao, ciao.
Brilliant. Okay, you have some greetings of Veronica this morning, and Eddie Sarah in the house as well. Talk of science still. James, I think, fair enough. Scientific methodology is not the same as corporate control of the methodology. Well said, sir. And sorry if it felt like you were piling in at that point. It was Mrs. M, not me. Jamie Sills. What? Jamie Sills was a welder who repaired rotten car sills and arches. He should have been called Archie Sills. That is a very abstract and niche joke. Thank you for that, Doug. Did you know Ericeira is an international surfing reserve? Ericeira! Yes, absolutely. Thank you, James, for that. No offense meant, Ian from Joao. But for me, it's already a huge effort just to move my eyelids when I wake up. Okay. Start where you are, Joao, and maybe just do some reps on the eyelids in them first thing in the morning and build up to something more strenuous. Anything else beyond that is sheer sacrifice. By the way, part of my ancestry is from Alentejo. That explains everything.
The wine people.
The wine. Well, the I noticed when we were in your part of the world last Friday, Saturday. Yeah, Friday and Saturday, really. Or we drove on Thursday, but we drove through the Alentejo. And it is like a decompression, isn't it? Driving through the Alentejo, made a little video of the sunshine shining through the cork trees. And I even just talking about it now, I can feel myself slowing down talking about the Alentejo. I don't mean it in any bad way. It is like the internet goes through Alentejo and reverts to dial-in or dial-up or whatever it's called when it gets to the Alentejo. And then it speeds back up again when it gets to the Algarve, obviously because of all the excitement that goes down there with the paddleball and everything. But yeah, absolutely loved it. It was lovely to experience your part of the world, Veronica, for a few days, and we will be back. Apologies to everyone who we didn't get to see, and we will stay longer and have more fun in the Algarve soon, I'm sure. And it's there also major surfing competition location, global one at that, and talk of engineering coming in as well. And a new name. Maybe this is somebody from your community, Veronica. Would you know Top Secret?
Not unless they have a different real life name.
Now, as a YouTuber, this happens, doesn't it? You will have people.
Who are you? Who's your avatar? Your avatar is a spinny go round, so maybe it's pickleball.
And then they come up to you at the Algarve and say, "Hi, Veronica, it's me." And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but you use a different name and picture.
You know,
Yeah.
last night we went out for drinks and we have the fancy hotel, the Grand, right? 20 euros a glass. And 3 of us went just to kind of celebrate a little bit.
Beautiful.
All night, it was American night. I mean, this is like 600 euros a night rooms. And I'm like, wow, you guys are really like doing it up when you come to Portugal. The Bastan is like $100 around the corner, but we love the Grand. It's lovely. I have to be careful what I say, right? And all night long, as soon as we walked up, 3 guys were like, hi, Veronica. I'm like, hi. And they're like, we've emailed you. And I'm like, great. You and like 3,000 other people. And so I'm like, so who are you? Oh, don't you remember? I'm so-and-so from San Diego.
Yeah. Well,
I emailed you 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you don't want
But
to.
all night, the Americans were coming in. They left, and another set came in from Washington, D.C., and then they left, and another set came in from Florida.
Yes.
And then they left, and another set, and I can't remember who, because by then we'd drunk a lot. We were there 4 hours.
And that made it even worse trying to remember people who emailed you a year ago. But
Yeah.
I can tell, Veronica, that said, you're always happy to say hi to folks. I think that's really important.
Yeah, always happy to say hello. Just help me out.
Yeah, and it's lovely. I mean, I love it. I have to say, you know, whenever people do say hi, I absolutely love that. So please do if ever we're out and about.
Do say hello.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Love chatting to people who enjoyed Good Morning Portugal. And so to you, Top Secret, which is a fantastic name as well. Bon dia, back to you. Igualmente, Top Secret.
I get it. Top Secret. Oh, took a minute.
I didn't get that until you said that. Top
Oh,
Secret.
I got it when you said. I thought you're saying Top Secret. Top
That's
Secret.
So
Really?
So we probably won't ever know who Top Secret is then, will we? They won't disclose
Top
themselves
Secret.
to the American hotel. So okay, your secret is safe with us, Top Secret. Okay, I took the AP from Lisbon to Faro. It was great. That's a great journey, a classic journey. It should be in all those coffee table books of great journeys up and down
Really
Portugal
good.
in the AP. It is superb. Hola, Veronica from João F.
Hi, João.
Morning, people. From Lee, who's probably just having a little break for a cigarette and a coffee, maybe even a beer. Bon dia todos from Amelie. Good morning to you, Amelie. And I drive to the Algarve. It's so much easier. Oh, Andrew. AP stands for Alpha Pendular, Intercity, Intercidade, and U for Urbano is the slower train. Thank you for that clarification.
Oh, Carl, we should mention, check the alerts on your app. On the bottom, there's a thing that says alerts. And because some of the trains, they're electrifying and doing some things here in the south, and they're also upgrading some tracks. Sometimes they bus you on Saturday or Sunday. So to the other guy's point that it's easier to drive by car, he may have gotten maybe stuck at the train station and they go, yeah, we're going to bust you now. So check the alerts.
And now,
or strikes happen.
That it will yes, and it takes a little bit longer when you have to transfer, but even that can be a nice little plot twist, can't it? And it'd be driven around the countryside in a bus instead. Excellent. Has the Algarve line resolved its labour issues? Last I was there in May, Algarve service was kind of intermittent. So has that settled down? Are you referring to industrial action, Gene? There, I'm not sure. But you
I think because the strikes, there were strikes going on, and then we just had a teacher strike as well. Like every country in the world. Nobody wants to pay their teachers. You know, here they've got, and everybody after COVID, you would think, oh my gosh, I had to be with my kid all day at home, like the poor homeschool people that actually want to be with their kids, but the ones that ship them off, you know, to school in kindergarten and expect to pick them up and as a senior in high school, all educated and babysat, they're like, I have 5 kids. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, your teacher has 30.
Yes, give them a pay rise, for goodness sake, everywhere around the world. All those people who we clapped and cheered as being emergency frontline workers, they all need a pay rise now. It can be found. We can find money for all sorts of crazy stuff. We can find money to pay teachers, health workers, and train drivers. Shirley, right? Don't call me Shirley. Let's find out what else is going on in the chat, because I think people have got questions for you. We want to talk about your best kept secret until today, that is, of course, and also pitfalls of buying property. And we'll have Carl joining us in the conversation at past as well, which will be fantastic. He has some issues himself to bring, not psychological ones, issues about well, maybe he does, and that's fine too. That is absolutely fine too. Parabéns, Veronica from Fiona. A happy birthday.
Hi, Fiona.
And a memo, talking of memos, a memo from Amelie. It's an amemo to Antonio F. Missed you at the meetup on Tuesday. Next time, leave work and join us. That is an order. Please, everybody, leave work to join meetups.
Was that ours? Wait, what's
I
today?
think it's
There was a
in
meetup last night in Tavira with kind of the Tavira Americans and
oh, can you send me details? Because I want to add that to our Portugal meetups.
absolutely. I really host them. He's kind of like the mayor of
fantastic.
Tavira.
Excellent. Okay, please send me details and I'll add it to our Portugal
American
meetups page.
Yeah, sure.
I think Amelie's talking about the Expats Portugal one that happened in Lisbon on Tuesday. Colin had his own meetup at his house yesterday. Oh, look at that.
Oh, kitties.
And I met this cat yesterday. Just a very quick mention. This is Gashdown. Well, my friend Gashdown, the tourism manager, I'm going to call him, in San Martino de Porto. He's such a character, and we'll get him on the show at some point. Gashdown is a fantastic guy, and he was telling me he was having a drink the other evening, and this cat came up to him as a stray in San Martino. If you're looking for a cat, this one needs a home in San Martino. It's a beauty. Came rocking straight up to me. I'm very friendly and in need of a home at the moment. We haven't got a name. Just a lovely, lovely picture of this cat. If you're in San Martino and you want to home a cat, this could be the one. An absolute beauty of a cat. And I'm more of a dog person, I have to say. Okay, back to those comments then. I get my bus pass in 6 months when I turn 66. Again, get out of here, Penny. You look like you're in your late 40s, Penny Albertella. Encouragement to the senior discount was not included on the CP online drop-down menu when I was attempting to book my trip to Porto. It's there, yes. And maybe go to the complaints.
Use the app. The apps are always a little bit more user-friendly generally.
Okay, 65 is the minimum senior rate age, says James. Thank you. Orient Station is in Lisbon is a quick cab ride from the airport. Very good.
Oh, yeah, that's what we did. It was so fast.
You have started.
You
started something here this morning. How much is first class, and do they do a murder mystery? Probably. They probably do at certain times of the year.
First class it depends, because it depends on your age and when you book it, but plan about 30 to 38 euros, somewhere in there.
Isn't that amazing?
Maybe 28 for earlier, and if you get half for seniors, math, no.
Well, here you go. Look, early purchase, 8 days. You can get 65% discount on the train for early purchase. That's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. And reclassification. There are no seniors in this group, only experienced people whose only exercise is moving their eyelids in the morning. Well done, Joao, for that. They use that sort of paddle and a pig's head for ceremonies at public schools in the UK. Looks like we invented every sport then, doesn't it? Including British baseball. There you go. And stop it, Andrew, by the way. Kids, look, that's a lovely pickleball t-shirt. It really is. Shout out to
this was our competition shirt. We went to the first competition between the south of Portugal and the north, and that was in Vai, right by Obidos. And there's a new club starting in Porto and one starting in Lisbon. So if somebody wants to join those, they're trying to get more members. And so maybe they can reach out to you, and then we can share the data on that as well.
Definitely. I mean, this sport is sweeping the nation, isn't it? Kids 4 to 12 have a 50% discount. That's excellent too. Our club in Val Obidos, not Val in the Algarve, is also now a Club Pickleball Esta.
Oh, good. That's where we played. We played in Val, and it was run by a bunch of French people. They killed us. They just slaughtered us. Like, we were just like, boom, boom, boom. 11. I think they reserved the courts for like at least 20, 30 minutes. 5 minutes were like out of there. Really? Except a few of our experienced players were well matched. We were matched with people.
This is what we think of your French fries. It was maybe a bit of a grudge match, maybe. Okay. And as I understand it, you cannot compile discounts. You have to choose one. The one you want.
Choose the best one.
Choose the best one. There you go. 65% ain't too bad, is it?
Happy
birthday, Small Munson. Didn't catch which show. Solomon. I hope you have a fabulous day. Thank you for that. Carl Munson. I understand you and suffer for solidarity with you. However, do not despair. What's this about? Americans do not mean wrong. Oh, this is the British baseball comment. Honestly, Veronica, do not mean wrong. But what can you expect from someone who throws a melon around with their hands and insists on calling it football?
Well, you know what's a crack up is we have the World Series And you think about it, the World Series of baseball and football, like our Super Bowl,
Yes.
it's only United States. Nobody else plays it. So
That is, yes, that's an interesting, and the World Cup, which is truly a world competition. I think you only show on cable. It's not even a bigger deal, is it? In America at the moment, the upcoming World Cup. But you're going to love it here, Veronica, when the World Cup starts, and we follow Portugal through the tournament. Morning, Colin. I remember you saying you play pickleball. Just out of interest, why is it called pickle? Veronica, why is it called pickleball?
the dude's name that started it, his last name was Pickle.
Seriously, like
Yeah.
Peter Pickle.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you would call it something that identifies what the sport is, but yeah, pickle.
So there you go. Everybody here, if you could have a sport named after you, you could have Turner Ball, Munson Ball, Ferreira Ball, the
100 Jack ball. The I can't say it ball. I'm not joining that sport if I can't say it.
I'm not joining that conversation anymore. Okay, our Val Albidosh Pickleball is now officially Club Pickleball. Newcomers welcome. So thank you for that invitation as well there, Rugby Colin.
The Val has, their courts are fully inside. It's super cool. So if it's really hot or really cold or rainy, they took this huge indoor, I think that's why it's in Val, because Val is a smaller town versus like an Obidosh or something else bigger over there, Caldish Durena. And they're beautiful. There's 4 huge courts completely inside. It's really, so, you know, when they get that super hot summer heat, because it's a little bit inland, they're protected in there. It's a really nice courts.
And Val in Albidosh, not in the Algarve, because there are at least 2 of Val's.
No. This is in Obidosh. So they're the ones that hosted the very first big tournament of the South against the North. And then the guys came in that were starting the Porto clubs. Super cool guys. We love the Porto guys. When our courts were open, they played with us and we just played so well with them. Super good. I mean, if you're in Porto, that's really a good one to join. And also the guys from the girls too, from Lisbon, were really fun and happy.
Superb. Okay, before we run out of time, we've talked about Malta, which, well, not a great deal, but yeah, it sounds like you had a great time. You had a great time on the train getting, then you give us lots of nice intel about the train. We've got a little video to play, have we not? I mean, there are many things we could be talking about this morning, and I fear we're not going to get to them all.
That's okay.
What do you want to say about damp briefly? Because Mrs. M won't forgive me if we don't cover that.
Oh yeah. So you know, it's so interesting. Be careful what you ask for. It's true. So I was a new guy was visiting in town doing his recon tour that wanted to live here potentially in Villarreal de Santo Antonio. So I said, oh, you know, I know you like to bike, borrowed a friend's bike, and then another friend borrowed a bike. And it's only 15 minutes to Castelmorim, which is the next place up. And I'm going around all these gorgeous houses around the castle. And I said, man, I would love to see inside some of these. This is going to be the next up and coming area, because how many castle towns do you have that are super low cost, by the river, by the ocean, right by Highway 22, the Tollway 22. And I'm like, oh, I got to figure out something to happen with this. And within 3 days, this guy at our little local, you know, cafe latte where we hang out says, hey, a friend of mine wants to meet you. He's a developer. I said, set it up. And then that Friday we were out filming homes, and he does these, they're all sold, so it's not a pitch. But he's a developer that keeps some beautiful historic on the outside and brand new on the inside. So he was using German interior walls. I don't know what they're called here. We call them drywall, but they're not drywall here because they're all brick. But he uses this special board from Germany, and then he paints it with, you know how they have the thermographic paint? They paint the wet out. Yeah, so you can use the thermographic paint on the inside and the outside. And then, of course, the underfloor heating and the climate controls in each room. And you have to remember, a lot of times on your climate controls, they also have a dehumidifier function. So the first thing you should do is, if you are in a house that isn't like a brand new fancy one that's protected against the element, double pane windows, no brainer. Most homes have that anyway. Is that to check your wall unit to see if there's a dehumidify option, and that'll make it so much less cool and keep everything dry. And mine is built really, really well, but sometimes a little bit of moisture comes in. And so I've just got a dehumidifier that kind of rolls around, and it's amazing. You'll dump out like 5 gallons. Okay, what is that in liters? Like
I
20
don't know.
liters. Is it
Oh,
times 4, 5
yeah,
times
somebody
4?
will tell us. Somebody will tell
A
us.
lot, a big thing of water, like after a few hours, and it doesn't even feel that damp, but immediately it
so
feels
good.
warmer without turning on the heater. So those
Wow.
are really important things to do. But try to look for, if you don't want the damp, look and ask about the homes that are built with these requirements, or see if there's a way you can retrofit it yourself.
Yes, yeah, very good. Well said, well said. And it's a serious issue. And you've saved somebody. Well, it sounded like they had to pay for a survey. Turned out to
Yeah,
be a good idea in the end, because they this was something we were
yeah.
sharing before the show. What happened? What's the story here with somebody who
So we
had a bit of
had a guy, and what I do is I pair people with agents once they've kind of talked to me, because our agents, I have a video on why agents don't call you back, because they're just getting slammed by people who are interested 2 years, 3 years, 5 years down the road. So people can kind of reach out to me. I chat with them, and that's all free and everything. But when they're really ready to move or ready to buy, then I say, okay, you're going to donate something to my son's college, $100 or whatever.
fair enough,
And
fair enough.
I'll do an hour with you, and I pre-qualify them, and I help them go through the psychology of, why are you here? How do you picture your life? Blah, 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 blah. And when I feel they're really good, I pair them with a good agent and a good attorney.
Yeah.
And of course, they also need the financial guy. But those, financial attorneys, you don't get money for that. They can't give you any kickbacks, So
Yeah.
they get the client ready, and we formed a policy and a checklist and a flow, I should say a flow, to where I've pre-qualified them. Then they go to Raquel and the attorney or whatever their agent is going to best fit with them. Then they show them the houses. Once they pick the house they want to see, then it goes to the attorney, and the attorney sends out the surveyor. Now, your surveyor does the things in America that we're used to. Now, other countries may not be used to this, but we are used to somebody running a title search to see if there's any liens, money against the property. We call them clouds on title in
Yeah.
America, to make sure that all the permits are correct. Title normally will kind of do a little bit of a search on that as a home inspection, making sure your things work. And then the surveyor that goes down to City Hall and checks if any permits haven't been pulled. So they find this house, nothing's disclosed, or everything's great, everything's wonderful. And they do the survey, and the surveyor right off the bat goes to City Hall and says, this thing is brand new and none of it's permitted.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, that's not good. So now these owners, they've gone back to America, and they're not even here. They've wasted all that money on the trip here looking for what they wanted. They're in escrow, because you can give your, and then there is no official escrow. That would be your attorney. We don't give money to the real estate agents. We give it to the attorney to hold in case something goes wrong. You can get it back. Some places you can't get it back. So anyway, these people, when the surveyor was there and said to this lady, hey, did you know there's a permit issue? And she says, yeah, I know there's a permit issue. There was a permit issue when I bought it. And she wasn't going to disclose it until they found it out. So now this is one of the ones that isn't as reputable, that, people in town, they go to this person, and you don't know if the city can come back to you and say, you need to put that back to its original condition. You can get fined. I mean, there's a lot of problems with having a non-permitted house.
Yeah.
And then in Albufera, when we were going to the Oktoberfest, there was a big Oktoberfest by Albufera. And same thing, a guy that was just out hanging out came to our table. We're chit-chatting with him. And he says, my friend just bought a place, and he went to move in. And the people said, what are you talking about? We never sold our house. Somehow a company came in and completely sold him a place, made it look like he was a notary's office, everything, took all his money. Of course, he found a report. Yeah. So you have to have a referral. You have to know somebody. So I'm sure you give referrals. You have to know somebody that's reputable. And for us Americans that run it like the American way, because just because you're in another country doesn't mean that automatically everything's going to work. Right. And
what was this owner thinking, Veronica? That they would, of course, it's not permitted. Were they just thinking it would slide past the person?
I think so. I think that, because, in California, I have a real estate license in California, and we have an actual disclosure form where you ask them because people forget. So you say, oh, have you had any heating issues? Have you had any plumbing issues? You go through, so they have to actually check yes or no. So if they check no, they either really forgot or they lied. And then that was always the spin, just get a home warranty, because when the heating guy comes in and your neighbors go, oh, why did you pick that heating guy? And you're like, they say, what do you mean? And they say, oh, the people who moved here before always had a different heating guy out with their messed up heating problems. Now you've got a lawsuit against the old owner for not disclosing it. So,
wow.
yeah.
Okay, let's bring Carl in. We're going to bring Carl live from Lisbon, and there are congratulations in order for this man as well. He sent some lovely news through. Let's bring him onto the screen now.
Hello.
Good morning. And of course, you'll want to take part in this conversation about some of the pitfalls of buying property here. But before we go there, Carl, congratulations. You have Portuguese citizenship.
I do. Yeah.
Well done,
thank
mate.
you. I'll show you the card. Just there we
Yay.
go. I am
Did
now
you get
Portuguese.
citizenship or residency?
Citizenship.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Turn left at the top of the stairs, not right.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. Took a long time, it was a 2.5 year process, but yeah, it's there
Well
now. It's
done,
great to have
mate.
it. Absolutely.
And good question, Veronica, because there is a distinction, isn't there? There's the residency, which many of us will be a part of, and in that turning right at the top of the stairs on the aeroplane, and in first class as a citizen of Portugal is Carl Hyde in front of you, and so you are a proper Portuguese person who can vote with your ID card there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've not really looked into that aspect of it, but yeah, I mean, I'm a fully fledged Portuguese. So yeah, in fact, for the final meeting I had with the, I think it's IRN, the ERN as they call it with their pronunciations, they were asking, check over the details, make sure everything's correct before we finalise it. And it said on the application that my nationality was Portuguese. And I said, this may be a stupid question, but I'm English, so is this? No, you're Portuguese now. That's correct. So, thank you so much.
Did you have to give up the British citizenship?
No, I'm a dual national, so I'm still British. I would never renounce my my Englishness.
Your Englishness.
I'm a dual national. Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
So you can vote though, Carl. You can also vote as a resident for like local elections. So maybe get a voter on, voting expert on sometime.
Okay, but we can blame Carl in the future for the premiere. Now, it sounds like a scene from The Matrix, I have to say, Carl. Your Neo, and Morpheus looks at you and says, Neo, you are Portuguese now. I mean, what was that like when you heard those words?
To be honest with you, it was very nice. I mean, like I said, the process it was 2 years, and a big void in the middle of that. A few complications right at the end. They asked me to provide my Brazilian criminal record at one point, which I was very confused about, being that I've never been to Brazil.
Well, you managed to hide that, haven't you? Your Brazilian criminal record.
So maybe I'm kind of a what's the great train robber called?
Yeah, Ronnie Biggs.
Ronnie Biggs in disguise, maybe. So no, I had to assure them that it was an error in my application, their error.
Yes.
And yeah, sort of be rather insistent because they didn't really want to help out with that. They were like, well, no, you've ticked the box, so you must provide it. So we had a half-hour discussion about it, and then we cleared it up. So that was the final hurdle. That was about 6 months ago. And then, yeah, I picked up the card last week, I think it was. So, yeah, I'm very pleased. Very pleased.
Good for you, mate. That's fantastic news. Well done. Well done. A Portugueser for sure. I think that is what you're absolutely right to call yourself, a Portugueser, as a British guy who's become Portuguese. So yeah, excellent news. Fantastic. And available to people, I'm sure, who would want to ask questions this morning about that process. Lovely to see you here. We will be lusting after property at some point during the show this morning, looking at pictures of property. And we'll go back to a few more comments though. So any questions for Carl? He joins us from Lisbon. He is a real estate agent in the Lisbon area, and probably will tell us more about that as well, certainly featuring a property from the firm as well this morning. So let's see, Wayne's with us this morning. Hola todos, in late, just landed at the house sit near Penacova. That's quite a nice way of moving around the country, and this sounds like trouble. I should preface this by saying Mr. Bleach is in my office this morning. Bleach ball would be another sport, possibly, and you've been hanging out with these characters, haven't you? A recent man cave do, Carl?
Yeah, we went. We had a meal at Sabor Mineiro in. I think it's near to Benfica, near the zoo. It was very nice. It's good to meet, the wives and kids of some of the man cavers. A good excuse to get together. It was a good night. It was a really, really good night. Great food, great company. So,
lovely to hear it. Okay, now you mentioned Benfica. World Cup's coming up. And you want to take part in our sweepstake, don't you? We're going to have a sweepstake. We did a bit of a World Cup primer the other night with Michael Hare, and I think it would be great to have a sweepstake. So I'll organise that. I know it's not football day, says Amelie, but I have an important question. Where do I buy football shirts for my nephews, and which team or player shirts do I buy? What a brilliant question. Brilliant question. Depends who you ask. Now, Victoria, who are you following in the World Cup? Victoria, that was for you. Who's your team in the World Cup, Victoria? Veronica. Did I call you? That's why you didn't answer. I just called you
Portugal.
Yeah, Portugal, of course. Do you have a Portuguese team you follow?
Well, whoever has the biggest party, like there's a Benfica place and there's a
okay,
and there's a sporting club place. Is that what we're talking about?
So there you go. That's quite a good strategy. Support the club with the biggest party. What about you? What about you, Carl? And what would you say is the answer to Amelie's question here?
Well, I mean, you can always go to the sports shops for those specific clubs. I'm sure they have them. But I was in the shopping mall near me yesterday in Algarve Forum, and the Adidas shop there was selling some shirts. I think they were Benfica, so maybe they're the shirt sponsor. So if you go to the Adidas store, you may be able to get some there.
Veronica's gone to get a shirt, I think. That's amazing. Okay, and you will not get 65% off or 50% off shirts. That is one area of life where there will not probably be discounts, especially if it's the current shirt. So I hope that helps, Amelie. Other suggestions, I'm sure, will be available, like this one. Portuguese national team match today. Is that right? So the World Cup hasn't started, but is there a Portugal match today, Antonio F? Maybe a warm-up match? Where was my meetup? Oh, look at this. Hold on, let's just zoom in.
Well, you know what you can do for a fun gift at that Portugal store, the one that always has the big cow out front and like a half-naked Ronaldo? You can get your friends
Hold on a minute. Which
their
shop is
names
that?
on it.
Okay. There are shops in Portugal that have cows and half-naked men outside them, and this is where you can buy this shirt.
But you can buy the team shirts and then put your kids' names on it for fun.
You're right, and what we have that shop featured in one of Dougie's tasters for certain. Yes, okay, that's nicely done. Thank you very much for that, Veronica. We didn't plan that, so there you go, Amelie. That's what you can do. Every time Gary says I go to outside the front gate, I get adopted by another cat, and I'm not a cat person either. Referring to the earlier cat photo that I showed. Victoria, yes, who are you following in the World Cup? Victoria. Hola, bon dia, kids from sunny Portimao this morning. Jean, I will have to try the subway next time. I heard the airport is the first stop, so you have lots of luggage. The train will not be crowded. Oh, a good little taxi. The metro, though, in Lisbon is great, isn't it, Carl?
It is, yeah. I mean, it needs to. There are plans to move it sort of further west, but yeah, it is great, and it sort of stipulates kind of where people prefer to live, of course.
Yes, and moving further west, what, because of all that development around Beato and that part of the river?
No, I mean, I actually have a map of it in front of me because I get asked so much by clients and things like that. But it sort of stops, like I think it's the blue line sort of cuts right through the middle of Lisbon. The yellow line goes a bit through that, but as you come further east to like Estrela, places like that, there is no metro. So I believe there are some plans to extend the red line. It could be one of those things that's been being planned for 10, 15, 20 years and may never happen. I don't know.
It's true, isn't it? Like the other airport. Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah. All right. But we'll see. Because the Golden Visa might fund that. That would be quite a good little connection, wouldn't it? Because we'll talk about the Golden Visa this morning as well. I use the website. James is still struggling or telling us about his struggles booking the train app. I'm sorry to hear that, James, because there's so much good news about the train system. Sorry to hear that you had a difficulty with that. I think this is Pete using Andy's computer. You just need a pair of crumpled stockings, Garvo, and you can be the cat lady of Algarve. That is a movie I'd watch, The Cat Lady of Algarve, for sure. No sun in Lisbon, but it's November. Who's that, Veronica, that you've got there?
No, I'm going to try the app to see if I can find him the
discount. Okay, live research for you, James. How about
just
that?
for you.
How about that? Happy birthday to baby Munson. Oh, thanks, Penny. Lovely kitty, but we're full up with cats here, and that does happen, of course, doesn't it? James, the ticket agent did not tell me that I could get an 8-day discount. He's got beef with CP, this man. The World Series was named originally after the New York newspaper called The World. Ah, that's why it's the World Series. That's good. People trying out their different versions of ball games named after them. Lord Ball sounds quite British, doesn't it? Lord Ball. It sounds like also something they play at public schools as well, as you mentioned before. Lady Ball. We like the sound of that. And there are national baseball leagues in Asia, like Japan, for example. Veronica, I apologize for the French reception. You've got to know. The Englishman apologizing on behalf of the French there. I also played at that tournament. Munson softball, don't like the sound of that so much, although Lady Ball is being trademarked as we speak by Victoria. Castromani, that was the place you were talking about, this new hot tip area for you, Veronica, in the Algarve. You're pushing Castromani, I think.
Not pushing, I just think it's a fun new place.
I
so
do
when
beg
you're
your
on
pardon.
the screen that says your name, right underneath it, your name and your passport number, right underneath it, it says discount. You go to full price, children, youth card.
Yeah.
Where's
we're
my-
not seeing it. We're not seeing it through because of the green screen. But there you go. Must be a green app. James, we've given you as much help as we possibly can with that this morning. Sorry, it didn't go well for you. I bought the
it's
ticket
just
online.
on that screen under your name. It says discounts, and then you just scroll it up.
I bought it in person in the end and tried out his Portuguese. Well, okay, every cloud has a silver lining.
Senior citizen, right there.
Oh my goodness, there's quite a lot of beef here about the CP. We need to maybe turn it into a blog post and get to the bottom of it. The complaints book, even.
But remember that nobody tells you something you don't ask. So you have to ask specific questions. Do you have a discount? What discounts do you have? Do you have a discount for seniors? Remember, unfortunately, we really don't just give information, and you have to know what question to ask, even though you don't know what to ask. So.
Well, let's ask the Portuguese person in the room. Carl, would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, you.
Yeah, I think that goes for anywhere in the world, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, if you don't ask the question, you know, you won't get the answer, and sort of dig and try and do a bit of research. You know.
Yeah.
Oh no, you get to somebody like us or the Irish, and you ask us what time it is. We're going to give you what time it is, how the watch is made, where to buy it.
Yeah, we can believe that. 22
I'm annoying that way.
22.5 liters was the amount of water sucked out of the air that you were talking about earlier on. We want to talk a little bit more about Lisbon, which is where you are, Carl. And recently you tell us you've been to the planetarium and the puppet museum. Lisbon, I think, has more museums per square foot than many other capital cities in the world. Tell us about the planetarium and the puppet museum, if you will. Great things to do with kids, and obviously great things for people to put on their scouting trips.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've been living here for 3 years now, so we just wanted to get out a little bit more, see some different things, and things that, you know, didn't cost a small fortune. As a family of 5, sometimes 6, when the vested wonder walks past, you know, it can add up. So yeah, there's lots of museums. So a few weeks ago, we took them to the planetarium, which is near the pastry place in Belém.
Yes,
the Maritime Museum is part of that. So €17 for 1 hour, you know, for a family of 5, and the kids loved it. You know, they had a great time. You know, you sort of get in there, it all goes pitch black. You look up at the ceiling. You know, the seats sort of recline back, and then they do the show. They go through the constellations, and at one point they move. It feels like the room is moving. Actually, I had to close my eyes because I felt a little bit nauseous. Like, what's going on here? It's sort of spinning around through the constellations, and I thought, well, that's not for me. But the kids loved it; they thought it was great. And then the weekend just passed. We went to the puppet museum, which I have to say, when my wife told me where we were going, I thought, that doesn't sound very exciting or very interesting to me. We went anyway, and again, the kids had a great time. It was €10 for the family. And we spent about an hour there. They had a little stop motion section where the kids could take. They have a little sort of little setup with a tablet. The kids can take pictures, move this little tram that's in a street scene along, and make a little video. Simple things like that, and it's just a good way to get the kids off their video games and things like this, and get out and explore the city a bit more. So we all had a great time. It's good fun.
Very good, very good. NASA won't be calling you by the sound of it.
No, for sure. No.
You fell at the first in the planetarium.
Yeah.
How lovely. Golden visa. I think that's something we might all have a bit of an input on here. The concerns as a result of the Prime Minister saying its days might be numbered, or certainly saying some cryptic things at Web Summit and causing a bit of a stir. How I will come back to you, Veronica, on that and how that's affecting the Algarve possibly. But what do you make of it, Carl?
Well, the last time I was on the show, we spoke about an investment opportunity that we have with the Rossio Palace.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we had a meeting this week with the developer, and it is a concern. The PM sort of dropped a bombshell at the what was it called again? The event Web Summit. Yeah. So it's created quite a bit of uncertainty, and some people are sort of holding back and you sort of don't want to make an investment now, and other people sort of going, right, well, it's still active, so they're sort of piling in and saying, let's get it done now while we still can. I think the truth is nobody really knows what's going to happen with it. I believe on the 25th of this month they will announce the budget for the next year, and in that should be more details about the golden visa situation. So yeah, that's something for people to look out for. So nobody knows that, really. So it has created a lot of anxiety, I suppose, for people who were planning to use it or intending to use it. I think it's unlikely that it'll disappear completely. I think it's more about the EU wanting to harmonise the rules, and the investment levels across the continent.
Yeah, I think you're right. The EU haven't been a fan of the Portugal's success with the golden visa, but I think it's a great idea to link it to a new airport or a new metro system, and there's a win-win there. What about you, Veronica, at the Algarve? Has that been reverberating around down there?
No, and I think one of the things is a lot of people just hear golden visa and they think that's the only way in. They don't realize there's a D7 and of course the new visa, right? Which I think you discussed as well, the nomad visa.
Nomad,
that's fairly quick. You need a little bit more income. But for the D7, for anyone who wants to actually live here for, more than 6 months out of the year, you don't need that golden visa. And, it's really for people that just want to have that, the residency of the EU to be able to hop around the EU. But if you plan to be here more than 6 months, I mean, with your Schengen, you've got you've got 90 days out of 180. So you essentially have, 3 months twice a year. So the golden visa is really I don't think it's so much necessary for the American people, and the process is long, it's expensive. And you can buy a house. I think Carl would agree. You could buy a house today and rent it, not short term, right? Because we have to be really careful with the AL licenses. There were some developers, some people that called that were still selling homes like in 80-unit buildings in Lagos that were telling people, oh, you can Airbnb it, which you can't with the new law if you don't have an AL license and there's common spaces. They kind of shot that down this year, right? So, that you can still rent out to people on an annual lease, which is so necessary for the people that are doing, the D7. They need an annual lease instead of 6 months, 8 months, whatnot. So I think it's kind of guiding people and really sitting and having a full consultation. I'm sure Carl does this too. Like, well, what are your goals? What do you want to do?
It's different strokes for different folks kind of thing. Most people do want the D7. It's the easier and cheaper way to get into the country. But for some people, like Veronica said, who don't want to spend so long here, it's a good way. It's a good path to citizenship. Over sort of a 5-6 year period, you become a citizen of the European Union and all the benefits that come with that. So it's for different people who want different things. But yeah, the D7 is by far the most popular, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and when you look at the numbers, because you can check all the statistics, the amount of people, it's very few Americans that do the golden visa. You have a ton more of like Chinese and, people from other countries that don't have the ease of access to the EU.
And might want another passport, absolutely. One of the interesting things I think about the golden visa is what you mentioned, Carl, is the investment opportunity that's coming up. It was traditionally, buying a property. Now you can put money into an investment fund and access the golden visa in that way. You're obviously doing it, Coldwell Banker. I talked to a great guy from Equity recently as well. We've got that in our YouTube library. And tonight for Expats Portugal, we're talking to Holborn Assets. So there are a lot of investment funds now that are connected to the Golden Visa, which might be of interest to people in a spicy time in the world of investments and all sorts of difficulties in terms of the recession. Lisbon and Portugal still look like great places to invest in if you are okay with risk and thinking about doing that. So I think it may be a matter of people changing their mind a little bit about how the Golden Visa works. It's not just about buying a property. It might be an investment vehicle as well. And you get all the benefits that Veronica and Carl just mentioned. Fantastic. You're getting some nice heat here and adulation. Welcome to the club, says Lord Gilchrist. He's not a citizen, is he? He's a very naughty boy. And Carl as well. That's for you, not for me. Congratulations, Carl, on your citizenship from 3Ps and Simon. Should we start calling you Carlos now? Has that happened?
I believe Carlos is Charles for the translation. So,
Okay.
And I have great difficulty when I speak to new agents and other people. I tell them my name is Carl.
Yeah.
It's usually very difficult for them to understand what I'm saying. I don't know why, so I always have to say, "Listen, it's Carlos without the So,
Carlos without the
no.
very good. I'll remember that. I could use that as well.
That's trying to teach people joao. You know, we finally learned you can do wow and just put a J in front of it. So wow.
But then you need the at the end as well, as we've been discussing.
Oh, if you say it fast enough, sometimes they don't notice. Drawing.
Oh, they always notice.
Do they?
Veronica, yes.
I actually caught my sister one time. My wife's cousin was with us in England, and she said, Jamal. I said, what did you call him? It's Jamal. I said, it's Joao.
Jamal.
She's known him for a long time. She always calls me Jamal. I said, well, why didn't you tell him? Well, you know, it's difficult for the English to pronounce that. It's not that difficult, you know.
We've got a comment for you from Jamal F here.
That's why I go with Veronica O.
Yeah,
I can't pronounce my own name.
That 2.5 years that quickly, Carl Hyde.
Well, you know, they told me it would be 6 months, but
Right.
sort of I've lived here for 3 years now, so now I just know to just let it go, and when it happens, it happens. That's
Yes.
the best way.
Well said, sir. And you sound like a native. We needed to include that one. Can you now adopt people? You see how people's minds work. It's like, congratulations, yeah, fantastic, good for you,
Typical
Carl.
man caver type
Oh,
comment.
yeah. But what about me? Can you get me into the country now? Yeah, there you go. No, Stephen, I don't think he can. Carl Hyde, now officially one of the nicest people in Portugal. Hi, buddy. That's nice.
Thanks, Garvo.
And the ERN, as you said, the Instituto de Registros y Notariado are there. And I still think he looks like Vladimir Zelensky.
I can get my green t-shirt if you like, and I can really sort of complete the look.
Oh,
He's
dear.
a professional agent. He needs respect. Come on, people.
I think there's you misheard here. You might have had a trouble with your connection. Did you think it was a bit personal when filling out the form and you read, have you ever had a Brazilian? It was a Brazilian. It was a Brazilian criminal record, not a Brazilian. And you ticked the box.
Did your wife fill out the form?
I didn't tick the box. No, my wife wasn't there. No.
Okay, very good.
Yes, they'd like to order one of those, and if you have a spa appointment, that's your place.
Yeah, it's like I only came in for citizenship. Sporting Lisbon, sporting there for Amelie. It's not going to get any easier. Look, Spain, Brazil, and Portugal. Okay, thank you, Victoria, for answering. But yeah, when I called Veronica Victoria there, but you answered anyway, which is fantastic. Portugal.
Because my name's hard.
Spain. Yeah, it is. But no, your surname is, your family name is. Veronica's not that difficult, honestly. Força Portugal, sell shirts. I think that's what you're talking about, isn't it? The cow. No, Aliop is the cow shop.
I think is that the cow shop? I forgot what its name.
I think you might have mixed up your Portuguese shops. The Aliop is the cow shop, and
No. It has a bull. It has a Portuguese bull.
Oh, so there's a bull shop and a cow shop.
There's a bull, and it's in Villarreal. There's the Algarve cow, and then just down the road, maybe it's a female. I don't know if it's a cow or a bull. I haven't checked. Right. But literally, like the next block is the Portugal.
All right. That's the picture we want next time you're on the show. Veronica checking out whether it's a cow or a bull. And that's the weirdest.
I've got one I could send you. It's bad.
What?
It's right next to.
I'm not putting that milk in my tea. Sabor Mineiro at Avenida Zé Malor in Sete Rios, a few minutes from the zoo. That was a restaurant where the man cave met. Orca FC. You see, Amelie, you open a can of worms here. And we play against Nigeria, says Francis in South Africa. There are specific Portugal shops around the country, I think. Okay, answering your question there. Go from your mate Lee McGrady. Seriously, though, says Jamal Ferreira. What is really embarrassing for me as a Portuguese, not the amount of paperwork or bureaucracy, but rather the incompetence and stubbornness of some. Yeah, if well said. I think we're with you on that.
Okay, I have a lot of bad experiences with the bureaucracy, but I have to say the office in Almada, the ERN office, they were very helpful, very friendly, kindly spoke to me in English. I was trying to speak some Portuguese with them. Great all the way through it. So
shout out to Almada ERN. Okay, very good. Parabéns from Victoria. Are you guys all right for 5 or 10 minutes more? Because we're running over time here. Is that all right?
I could stay forever. I'm trying to find the picture of Ronaldo because right at eye level, it's pretty funny.
Okay, all right. At the airport, instead of taxis, they like to overcharge. You can ask for a Bolt or an Uber. Thank you, Antonio F, for that. Veronica, great idea. The shop is near Rossio, right? Rua Augusta. There you go. He has got
They're everywhere. They're like, it's a huge Portugal shop. And yeah, they can, how fun for the kids. And then you get the people going, oh, what's that player? I never heard of him.
Yes, indeed. And can we have like maybe with GMP in brackets afterwards for the team GMP, perhaps?
You could just make a whole bunch of GMP ones, right?
Right, wouldn't it? Gumpers.
And they have shirts and tank tops. You don't have to do a tank top.
Gumper ball. There's a sport you might not want to play. He has the right shaped head for that. Is that me or you we're talking about here, Vladimir? No beef. I actually like the CP online services. It just didn't work the way it was supposed to this time. Yeah, okay, fair enough, James. Thank you for that. Força Portugal sells the shirts, the shop with the cow and Ronaldo. Okay, so point of order that we've got that nailed now. I apologize for taking so much. Everybody's trying to help me with my train ticket. I already knew all of this and tried all of it. Oh, bless you, James.
I think it's important for everybody, right? The train's a big deal.
That's right. Exactly. It's like there's no such thing as a silly question. And there's no such thing as taking up a lot of time because usually things that we talk about have a universal appeal or certainly a niche appeal and others will benefit. Careful, Steve. It has the whiff of human trafficking about it. What's that?
What?
What? That is so random.
I think that was Stephen asking me to bring him into the country.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. And so, definitely, for the record, definitely not, Stephen. How very dare you get a D7 like everyone else. Força Portugal has 2 shops in Lisbon, one in Rua Augusta. Actually, Stephen's more of a Golden Visa guy, I think. And at the other, Praça da Figueira by Rossio, both very close. So there you go. Antonio is giving you exactly what you need to do there, Amelie. What a wealth of info you are, says Amelie to you. Thank you very much. I thought that was why Lee was always at the airport. Why is that? I don't know. Okay. I don't think I'm going to read anymore. You're bringing out the worst in the man cavers here, I think, Carl. Just your very appearance on the screen. Yeah. I definitely went to see the Maritime Museum. I want to see it. Just watched a video by Driving Algarve about Faro Airport being renamed Gago Coutinho after the navigator of the first transatlantic crossing. There you go. Sorry. Not the transatlantic crossing, the first crossing of the South Atlantic. Another great Portuguese navigator. Not heard of the Coutinho one there. João F, to you, Amelie. If you ever want to know something, he's the right man to ask. That is our Antonio F, our walking encyclopedia. Fabulous. And I want to see the sculpture of the Fairy 3D seaplane they used at the airport. Maritime Museum has an actual Fairy 3D there. Very good. Gary Austin, question for Carl. That'll be you, I think, Carl H. Is the current global economic situation affecting the property market in Portugal, or are the Americans buying more because of the strong dollar? Good question, Garvo.
I would say sort of they're balancing each other out, Things are slowing down, but things normally slow down at this time of year. So, some people are thinking maybe it's a bit too risky for me now. I'll wait 6 months. But then there are just as many other people saying, you know what, this exchange rate won't keep, and they're piling in. So I think one sort of balances out the other, really.
Okay, so there you go.
Well, and they're flying off the shelves in the Algarve because you can still sell your house in California, have a lot of equity, and buy something cash here and retire. I mean, that's the biggest thing is the value. Forget what the range is, dollar to euro. It's the equity. And even with things slowing down a little bit, not all areas are slowing down. So we had one couple that slowed down in Maine. We had to go in and tweak their listing. Oceanfront, and the agent over there didn't even put like oceanfront. They used that typical $1 million views. So we tweaked it all, got in videos and drones, and it sold right away. But, you know, there's still a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of places where there's a lot of equity and people still want to move there with supply and demand. And then in the Algarve, especially the east, we're seeing as soon as they come up, they're gone. I mean, good ones, right? There's still some that are crazy overpriced or just ridiculous.
Talking of which, then let's have a quick look at one. Let's drool over a property before you go, you guys. And we play the tune of the morning, Gold to Grey by Dan Abel and Sophie Barker. We like to play a bit of music, independent music, on the Indie Thursday here on the Good Morning Portugal show. So Portuguese Homes is the tab I'm going to click on to go to this week's featured home, which is the rather nice villa in Valença. But I also want to show you, which has been brought to our attention by Carl Hyde, this luxury home in Val in the Algarve, not the one in Óbidos. Tell us a little bit about this one, if you will, please, Carl. It's a beauty.
Yeah, I mean, it's listed with my colleague Kelly Swanson. She's part of our team. She's based in the Algarve. She's actually a realtor from Hawaii, and she's just made the move across. So yeah, she's busy sort of networking down there. But yeah, I mean, it's a great property. I mean, everything you could want: great views, swimming pool, and it's in Portimao, which I don't know Portimao very well myself, but I do know it's a very sought after area. Great access to all that the Algarve has to offer. So yeah, it's a fantastic place, a very large place actually. I think it's
saltwater pool as well, so that you won't get chlorine in your eyes there. It is beautiful. There's the view, the Portimao frontage there. I was there at the weekend, and I am really sorry I didn't get to see everyone I wanted to get to see, but we will be back again. It looked like a fine place to me, Portimao. What a fantastic beach! But this is a distinguished and fine Portuguese home, isn't it? Very good. Well done, Kelly Swanson, for listing this. Carl's, look, I love that. That is a proper, to me, that is like a Portuguese country kitchen there. Looking, you're seeing these photos, aren't you, everybody? Yes, you are.
Yeah, we're seeing them.
Fantastic. Yeah, really love this place. I'm just trying to scroll through to the pictures of the pool. Beautifully done. There are no bodies on the balcony in this photo shoot. Excellent. This is what you want to see, isn't it? Decent photographs of a beautiful home like this, and there are videos.
Kelly is a total professional. You know,
she's
very experienced, a highly experienced realtor from the US. So check her out for sure.
And that beautiful courtyard there. This is a house for entertaining in the Algarve as well, isn't it? And a second kitchen. I think there's, like you said, there's a lot of it, isn't there? This is a big property in Val near Portimao on the Algarve here. For anybody who wants to take a look at that, I will make sure that the listing link goes into the chat as well this morning. Final words then from both of you. Carl first. Congratulations, mate, on being. Becoming a Portuguese citizen. That's a real, there he is, the card to prove it. And we won't ask you to show us the Brazilian as the additional proof. Oh, no TV in the kitchen. And yes, we have an award for you from Veronica. Here is your cockerel, the official.
You're official.
Yes, there you go.
Thank you very much.
Yes, who doesn't like that first thing in the morning? No TV in the kitchen. That is not a deal breaker. That is not a deal breaker, not having a TV in the kitchen. If you want that property, I'm sure Kelly Swanson will get you a telly in the kitchen.
She'll throw in a TV, no problem.
She will. Portimao rocks, so there you go. And someone was asking 330,000 for a roofless ruin.
Baby. Keep dreaming.
I don't think they called it a roofless ruin. They would have called it an air-conditioned dream home, possibly, or something like that.
Location.
It would have been the location, would it? He's been very grumpy this week, hasn't he, old Lord Gilchrist? Take him out again, please, Carl, and cheer him up. Yes, okay, so, last word to you, Carl, and congratulations on your newfound Portuguese status, Portuguesa.
Thank you very much. So, look, if anybody needs any help finding a place to live in Lisbon, I'm doing a lot of work with rentals right now. Just helped a family who've been here, had 5 days in Lisbon, to find a place for their D7 visa, and we found it for them. They're going to get the keys the next few days. So anybody needs any help, give me a shout, you know.
On you, help from this lovely gentleman who opens Fates and Bazaars as Zelensky as well as a weekend job. You could make a little bit of, you could do earn a little bit of.
Listen, I've had this, but believe it or not, independently, I've had this so many times over the past 6 months. So I think I carry a little bit more timber than Zelensky, but yeah, I can get away with it up to about this point here.
Side hustle right there. The Roofless Ruin is open aspect, of course.
Open
There you go. And finally to you, Veronica, thank you for being here this morning.
Oh, you know, it's always so much fun and such a delight. You're just great. You're great. You know, I think we're so lucky to have someone like you brightening up the morning for us. So
Well, thank you very much.
for all that you do.
Oh.
If you need help in the Algarve, we have a little team, you know, but it's really just me filtering and sending off the leads because, you know, I really recommend watching the videos that say, why don't realtors or real estate agents, you can't say realtor here, why don't real estate agents or consultants, right? Real estate consultants here get back to me. They're just bombarded by people who aren't serious because of the apps, you know, like people will just say, oh, send me information, send me information, send me information. Well, 50 people will hit a property that's maybe got 1,000 hits and 50 people want information, but maybe only one's serious. So you're asking that poor agent to reply back to all these people who are just bored. You know, it's kind of like what happened with resumes with the electronic age, right? Like you used to have to like type one up and mail it out. Now people just go online, they have one resume and it's like, send me information, send me info, you know, apply. And then the poor person at the end is left to filter. And then sometimes they just run you around like crazy with no intent to buy. So, you know, if the agent doesn't think you're serious, he's not going to spend as much time. So, you know, I'm sure Carl replies to everybody and he's perfect.
Well, what I would say, Veronica,
to preface that,
people need to get a buying agent. That's the key. That's where you can help, and that's where I can help. You need somebody who knows the inside track, who can get you that connection, you know, with the agent who's listed the property, because it's not always easy, you know. Yes. So, yeah.
Well, and then you have access to the inside tools, and we all purchase that as well. He's got access to a great inside tool that a lot of agents don't have access to, and he can see all the agents that have listed it. The Casafari you have access to, right? So
yes.
Yeah, so he can look up that property. Let's say there's 3 that you've identified for the client, and there's sometimes up to 30 agents listed. It's ridiculous that listed the property. And sometimes they're all different amounts. They don't have it in the right bedrooms or bathrooms. They've listed the property. They just want to have their name on it. So in case they have the buyer that, or, you know, somebody comes to them, they get money on it. They're not always as serious as like, you know, a Coldwell banker they won't let them list anything until it's, you know, met all these steps, you know, and you have to have all the paperwork. You know, when you're at that stage where you're like, who do I choose? You can look in this program, you can look at 30 agents and say, I know these two are legit. They're honest. They'll return my phone calls, and you can start selecting who you'll work with, you know, as a buyer's agent, who you'll work with that has the listing.
Yeah. Well, this is so reassuring. Can you imagine being in the United States and wanting to move to Portugal and being in that situation that you described, Veronica, where you're pressing send on all these messages? Please tell me more. Please tell me more. You're not hearing anything back because these folks are overwhelmed. There are a lot of time wasters in real estate. We know that. People just, you know, wasting people's time looking at property. You told us about this before, didn't you? Both of you, I think, have got stories about that.
It's the name of the game, though.
Don't do it. They're professionals.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing, how lovely on, you know, to be able to watch a video on YouTube and see 2 people talking, real people, Carl Hyde, the Englishman who's now Portuguese as well, and Veronica, who has a brilliant working knowledge of the Algarve, people you can trust and work with. So reach out to them. I'll make sure their contact details are in the video. Save yourself a lot of hassle, folks, and just get in touch with people who can really help you rather than cause you further anguish while you're miles away and wanting to start your dream life and buy a dream home here in Portugal. Thank you both very much for being here. Round of applause for you both.
Thank you, Carl. Carl. Thank you, Carl.
It's a Veronica sandwich with 2 slices of Carl. Thank you very much.
Great way to start the day.
Who doesn't like that first thing in the morning? Thanks very much. Goodbye, Carl. Take care. We're
Bye now.
Bye.
And goodbye.
Oh, and I did send you that photo of I don't know if you can pop it up that quick.
Which one was that?
The big Ronaldo.
Oh, you sent me a picture.
I sent it.
I will put a big Ronaldo up at the end of the show. Thank you for
And he
that.
has the cow too.
Stick around for a big Ronaldo at the end, and we're going to just chill out. We're going to watch the Gumper Gallery and the photographs, and hear this music from Dan Abel and Sophie Barker. Cheers, Veronica. Bye for now. I think you'll enjoy this. Bye for now. Ciao. There she goes, Veronica in the Algarve. And as I said, I'll make sure you have their contact details. I will bring onto the screen now the Gumper Gallery, so you can look at these beautiful photographs from all over Portugal, as submitted by our very own Gumper community, and enjoy the music of Dan Abel and of Sophie Barker. That, I mean, to me, she is just sings in my head the beautiful chorus of Destiny by 07, which I'm sure might be slightly annoying to her. She wants you to enjoy her new music as well. That was 20 years ago. This is the music that she's making now. So let's play it and let's look at the Gumper Gallery. Here it is. This is Gold to Grey by Dan Abel and Sophie Barker.
If I walk away, will I see the colors fade from gold to grey? I'm never sure what it is that I've been searching for. We've fallen into this timeless place, all about and away. What goes up must come down. Do not stay another day. We walk beside uncertain times, gathering everyone. If you come with me, what a wondrous journey that could be. We've fallen into this timeless place, all about and away. What goes up must come down. If I stay here another day. To this timeless place, all about and away. What goes up must come down. Think I'll stay another day. We've fallen into this timeless place. We've fallen into this timeless place. Yeah.